Hello YouTube, welcome to my page. My name is Ron and I am a former Jehovah's Witness. I made a blog yesterday informing you guys that I have leukemia. So let me be a little more specific so that you know exactly what's going on and why I feel it's urgent that I make this vlog and why I get my message out while I have the time to do so. I was diagnosed with what's called chronic myeloid leukemia, or CML, October 31st of 2012. So I'm actually going into my 6th year of fighting this thorn in the flesh, as a witness would call it, or this disease. I was in relative good health when I got diagnosed. I was a vegetarian. I was doing 12-mile walks 3 times a week. I was about 50 to 60 pounds lighter than I am now. And I was batting 1,000 in regards to handling my business. Gainfully employed, married, at the time 5 kids, now I do have 6. I got a 4-year-old. Life was good, as they would say, even in these wicked days, as a witness would say. Anyway, let's see. Why is it so important that I give you my message now? I'm not in remission. My leukemia is actually aggressive. I've gone through 5 different regimens, clinical trials, and all those things, trying to keep this enemy at bay and fight for my life. So let me tell you a little bit about how leukemia works. When I was initially diagnosed, they came to me and said, well, the type of leukemia you have is treatable, and it's definitely, we can possibly get you in remission if you agree to what's called a bone marrow stem cell transplant. There was a little problem with that though. As Jehovah's Witnesses do not accept blood. We used to say we do not accept blood products, but that's not the case now. We don't accept whole blood, or they don't accept whole blood. You can take parts of blood now, and we'll get into that a little later on, but when I was initially approached about the possibility of this particular type of treatment, I decided against it because my Bible trained conscience, or now, I mean, we call it Bible trained conscience, but my discreet slave conscience would not allow me to partake in a whole or even partial blood products. I've been around this organization for 40 plus years, and it just wasn't something I was going to do. They said, are you sure? Because right now we can nip it in the bud, and you possibly can walk away from this unscathed. You know, you might ask yourself, well, why would a transplant, a stem cell transplant or a bone marrow transplant, be against a witness's conscience? The reason being is it's not just as simple as you getting that transplant. What they have to do, actually, and it's actually over a year process, they have to wipe out or kill all of your bone marrow, because that's where the white cells that cause CML are produced. They have to wipe all of that out and then replace it with another person's bone marrow. And then on top of that, you have to go through extensive blood transfusions. Minimum 3 months, not 3 months, 3 weeks initially. They have to basically get rid of all your blood, kill it all off with high dose chemo, and then start you back over with someone else's blood, with a matches bone marrow. And if you can survive that procedure, you can start off with a clean slate. And you don't have to be dependent on, let me show you what I'm dependent on now to be here. Yes, that's my daily regimen. I'm the type of person who's very independent. I do not like having to take pills. I actually hate taking pills. My doctors will tell you that. My oncologist, who I have come to become very fond of. Anyway, so going through that, speaking to my wife 5 years ago, we decided against it. I said, no, that's not something I'm going to do. I'm not going to go through risking my eternal life for the temporary life of taking in this blood, someone else's blood. So I lived with that. I did for the last, like I said, I got diagnosed in 2012. Up until February of this year, my stance didn't change. I was in good standing in my congregation. I was still doing everything I could to be a source of encouragement to the brothers and sisters who knew me. And actually, because I knew so many people in the different liaison communities in the Central Texas area, me and my wife got support, encouragement, spiritual encouragement from the friends. It wasn't like a lot of the stories I've heard online where the friends were cold. We literally got the welcome mat when we would have to go to MD Anderson in Houston, Temple, Texas. Friends to the point where the staff thought I was some kind of celebrity because I'm a big dude. I'm 6'6", 350. And the staff would see, there was one time where I'm not going to lie, I got over 200 visitors in one weekend. So I can't knock the witnesses for not coming out to support us and encourage us. So that's not part of my history or story. But fast forward to February of this year, I was awakened to the truth about the truth. I got into that, how that happened in the last video. I'm not going to get into that now because, again, this video is about why I see it as urgent for you to question your beliefs. I know that's taboo in this organization, but you definitely need to do the research and not just use our publications or witnesses' publications to find out why different things in regards to the light getting brighter, how that happens. It's not organic. It's not honestly Bible-based 100%. I'll tell you from my findings, from my research, that it's definitely money-driven. It's definitely, some of our policies are dictated not by what we call the discreet slave or the governing body. They're dictated by attorneys. So I'm not going to tell you exactly what I found out because you're an adult. If you're old enough to have taken the 2-question dedication questions that all witnesses have to go through. I'm not talking to kids, little kids or whatever, who's still living in their parents' households. I'm talking to the adults now who are teaching their kids and going out and talking to people from door to door and sharing these beliefs. Do your research. Make the most of your time. Make sure that you are not worshiping men. Because once you do your research, you might find out that you're not just solely worshiping God, but you're following the tenets of 7 men who won't worship you. So, and that's called idolatry anyway. So, hopefully you'll put forth the effort. Since I was disfellowshipped in September, actually September 11th, I had my judicial committee meeting, and the following Tuesday, after my chance to appeal that decision, they read me off. I have not spoken with my mother, who knows that I'm fighting for my life. I haven't spoken with my brother, who's also a baptized Jehovah's Witness. I haven't spoken with the community that came out to support me for the last 4+ years emphatically. We are literally what they consider lost sheep, or if you want to call it a better term, ghosts. I mean, I could see them people who I could talk to 3 months ago. If they see me on the street right now, they will avoid me like the plague. And simply because I learned the truth about the truth, and I questioned the decisions of those who were supposed to be my spiritual leads. So let me say this. This is important that I get this across to you. I don't know how my life will proceed. I do know that I'm going to go forward with this procedure now. Hopefully, if they find a match, and I'm supposed to go on the 19th to Houston, to MD Anderson, to see if they have found a match, or, when can I go ahead and move forward with this procedure. Hopefully in the next month or two. We'll see. I want to be here. Like I said, I have an amazing, beautiful friend and wife, confidant. I have 6 beautiful children between the ages of 19 and 4. I have a community of people I've known since I was a kid who are not witnesses, who still love me, who still care for me, and will not shun me because I decided to question those who take the spiritual lead in a belief system. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for you guys listening to my vlog. I'm going to keep on making entries while I physically can. I hope that you, if you're still in that organization, don't simply be in it because this is all you know. Don't simply depend on making decisions because you didn't look at any outside sources. And when I say outside sources, I'm talking about non-Jehovah's Witness sources. Think about it. If you're in a position where, if I was to tell you that you can look into me, but please don't look at anything negative, and only when you do look at me, don't research any outside sources. That's kind of, who does that? If you're going to go buy a car, you go to the Consumer Reports. You don't just go to Ford and say, you know what, let me listen to what Ford has to say in regards to this car. You go and you find out what people who have driven this car and have had good and negative responses from this particular vehicle say about it, so you can make an informed decision. Do yourself a favor and make sure that you're making informed decisions. Ask yourself why you can go to a meeting, a Sunday meeting, and come in with one understanding, go through the information, find out that the light got brighter, and come out with a different understanding of something that you might have held dear for the last 20, 30 years of your life. That's not natural. The Bible doesn't change, so why are the teachings changing? Ask yourself those questions. Don't just be a blind sheep following a blind leader. Do due diligence, put in the work. And I know it's hard. I know it's not the easiest thing to do because it wasn't easy for me. When I started finding out about the different investments we had, when I found out about the Australian Royal Commission, that was difficult to take. And I really got upset because I figured out that I might have wasted time. And I can't put that on anybody else but myself. But you are looking at a fighter. You are looking at somebody who's going to put forth the effort to be here for their family. And let's take this journey together. Thanks again for your support. I hope to see you soon.